Hello everyone, welcome to Homework Help. If you find the videos useful, please subscribe to the channel. So in this video, we'll solve this problem using the concept of dot product. So as per part A, from the set of vectors, so we are given these four vectors. Select two pairs of vectors that are perpendicular to each other. So we know that two vectors are perpendicular to each other if their dot product is equal to 0. So from this set of four vectors, we have to find two pairs of vectors for which the dot product is equal to 0. So for the ease of analysis, we should label these four vectors. So vector A, vector B, vector C, vector D. So let's start by analyzing vectors A and B. So we'll find their dot product. Now we can calculate their dot product by multiplying their x components, y components, and z components. So we got a result of -8. That means vectors a and b are not perpendicular to each other. Now we can analyze vectors a and c. So we'll calculate their dot product. Now we can multiply their x, y, and z components. So the x components are 1 and 4. So we got a result equal to 0. So that means vectors A and C are perpendicular to each other. So that's the first pair we found. Now we have to find a second pair of vectors that are perpendicular to each other. Now we can analyze vectors A and D. So we'll find their dot product. So we can multiply their x, y, and z components. So we get now we can simplify this expression. So 1 times 5 is 5. So the value of this expression is not equal to 0. So 5 minus 6 is -1. So this is equal to -1 over 6. So that means vectors A and D are not perpendicular. Now we can analyze vectors B and C. So we'll find their dot product. So we'll multiply their x, y, and z components. So this is equal to negative 91. So that means B and C are not perpendicular to each other. Now we can analyze vectors B and D. So we'll find their dot product. So we'll multiply their x, y, and z components. So negative 6 times negative 5 over 6 will give us a positive result. So the negative signs go away. And negative 20 plus 15 is negative 5. And 6 times 5 over 6 is positive 5. So the result is 0. So the second pair of vectors that are perpendicular are B and D. So these are the two pairs of vectors that are perpendicular in this given set. So we are done with part A. Now we can analyze part B. So as per part B, are any of these vectors collinear? Explain. So if the angle between two vectors is 0 or 180 degrees, then the vectors are collinear. So there is a very important concept you need to understand and memorize. So we have to calculate the angle between the pairs of vectors that we can make from this set of vectors. So let's do the analysis for vectors A and B. So we can find the angle between vectors A and B using the dot product equation. So we have to find the value of theta. Now we calculated in part A that A dot B is equal to negative 8. And the magnitude of A can be calculated by squaring the components of vector A, adding them and applying the square root to the sum. And we can do the same for vector B now. Now we can simplify this equation. So 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, and negative 1 square is 1. So we get 1 plus 4 plus 1, which is equal to 6. And in the next one, so 4 square is 16 plus 25 plus 36. Now we can add the numbers on the right side. So 16 plus 25 plus 36 is equal to 77. Now we can multiply square root of 6 by square root of 77. Now we can divide both sides by 21.494. So negative 8 divided by 21.494 is equal to negative 0.372. Now we can do the inverse of cos. So I got 111.84 degrees. So this means the angle between vectors A and B is not 0 degrees or 180 degrees. That means vectors A and B are not collinear. So we'll have to do this analysis for all other pairs of vectors we can make from this set, like AC, AD, then BC, BD, and then CD. So if we do all of this analysis for all of these pairs, you'll find that none of these vectors have an angle of 0 degrees or 180 degrees between them. So that means none of the vectors in this set are collinear. So this should be the final answer for this problem. So these are the steps you have to keep in mind to solve a problem like this one. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Please share it, like it, and subscribe to Homework Help. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.